Boys over there. How are y'all doing? Hello, everybody. I do have a little noise in the background. I apologize. Apparently, Easel miscalculated how long this job was going to take, so I've got a CNC running back there. But
At least I'm showing what I'm doing. Maybe. I don't know.
well, I mean, I got my camera over there, But yeah, what's up, Jack, Mark, Victor, Chris? Good day, mate. Uh, Linda, Tom, Mike, Minnesota Customs, 66 degrees. That's ridiculous. It's like still in the 90s down here.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
actually, that reminds me.
Tom said it's 102 there. I don't feel too bad. It's Jack, Mike, Linda again. See, all right, Brian. There's Brian. And of course, the Road Roamer. That looks like somebody that's new. I don't recognize that handle. But welcome, everybody. Glad to see y'all made it, and hopefully we'll have something to talk about. I know Steve's playing with his new toys over there, so a lot of you guys been asking about the what they called it, the F1, and that the designation that he got.
Yes, the X2 F1.
Yeah, so Steve hopefully will be the expert on the F1 here shortly. Uh, he got one of those little guys to mess around with. So
And just in case I need it tonight, I've got my sweatshirt ready.
yeah, if they give you too much trouble, you can put it on, I guess. Oh,
No, I'm out here. I got the doors open, and it could get cold.
ridiculous. It's a nice 76 in here with the AC on. So the AC is working at least. But
It's it's 70 degrees, but I'm down to 54% humidity, which is the big kicker for me right now.
yeah, well, I tell you, I am just thankful because I know since you saw that last video I released. Currently, I'm caught up with equipment. I do have I got to go extract some honey. I got that on my list of things I got to do before it gets too much further into the fall. But right now, guys, it's fixing to just be nothing but creative videos because I got all the testing and evaluating done. I'm completely caught up with anything laser related at the moment. How about you,
Well,
Steve? Have you got your backlog knocked out yet?
not quite. So of course I've got that, but what it's sitting on is, you can kind of see it, is the Niji uh, the Niji 3 Max V2. So it's a 20-watt uh, kit, and it's growing on me. It's a bit of a it's a bit of an assembly to get it going, but it's definitely growing on me. I like the form factor. Everybody likes to get the wider, or well, to get the extensions, but this one makes it wider instead of deeper right off the bat. And the thing that I uh, didn't think I'd be all that impressed with, well, I didn't know this would impress me about it. I shouldn't say that. It is super quiet.
Yeah,
What you hear is really, if the air kicks in, you get a bunch of noise. Other than that, the fans on the module are super quiet. The steppers are super quiet. Um, so yeah, I'm impressed with the lack of noise with this one compared to some of the others that you and I well know that even in an
yeah.
enclosure, you're kind of like, all right, let's turn this thing off now. I got to think for a bit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
Sound is not something that a lot of companies concern themselves with, for sure.
well, and rightfully so. I mean, these are tend to be workshop or industrial machines and such, so it's not necessarily primary on their list. But when you're using it in more of a residential home area with other people around, or maybe even in your workshop, I mean, I've been concerned in the past about running my CNC machine. Those things can make some noise, and but my shop's fairly well insulated. There's a lot of buffer between the neighbors and I, and so you close the doors and you really don't hear it outside. But inside, it's a bit of a noisemaker. So
Yeah, I've had a couple of complaints from the cows next door that it keeps them up at night. But other than that, I don't really have any problems. Uh,
Yeah.
there's a couple of the coyotes. They just kind of drown it out during the night. So
We actually have those around here too. I had the windows open the past few days and was up doing some editing and other things, and had the windows open, and they were howling in the background. So
cool. Brian said size is everything.
it says is not everything.
Well, it actually is when it comes to lasers. To me, because I
Yeah.
have to have a large workspace. I mean, that takes
Well,
priority with me. So
I mean, that's one of the things that I've asked people in the past when they say, "Well, what should I get in a laser?" And I ask them, what are your planned projects, and what are the projects you think you could possibly do in the future? Because with the diodes, it's a little bit different. You got the print and cut; you can move it around a little bit. But when you're talking about like the CO2 lasers, and they do have some pass through on them, but size matters. CNC machines, size matters, and that flexibility. You know, you rarely wish it was smaller. You often wish it was bigger. So,
yeah, yep. Oh. Welcome aboard there, Brandon. We'll tell you now that you used the term correctly. You got your first one this week. Within a few months, you'll be looking at getting your second one. Or either you'll hate it, one of the two. But I'd say about 80% of people wind up getting a second one and a third one and a fourth one, and whenever it ends. Uh, you should be able to see them in the video feed, Brent. Uh, they should be in the video screen. I don't know unless Facebook or
yeah,
YouTube or somebody's having a problem. All the comments should be in the window, like right there,
yeah. Since
right over there.
it's pulling from like four different locations, you might not see them in the specific um, chat window from the platform you're watching it from, but they should come up on the screen as well.
Yeah, yeah, because like right now we've got. I think I'm streaming out to my channel on YouTube, my channel on Facebook, and my channel on I don't even remember what the other one is, Instagram. And
Oh,
Steve's
you
doing
said
the same thing.
I think you said Twitter or
Yeah,
X,
Twitter,
whatever
Twitter,
it's called.
yeah, X, Twitter, whatever it is, yeah. Uh, but yeah, it's that's probably why you're not seeing them if you're looking at the chat in there. But if you watch the video itself, it should show up in the video feed. But let's see what we else we got.
Well, it's got another new laser
Yep.
person, Sleeper Hound designed an X Tool D1 Pro with a 40-watt bundle. That's a powerful laser, and
Go big or go home, I guess.
yeah. Um, so yeah, that'll be exciting for you. Welcome to the community. Definitely check out both of our channels for content. We both have used X tools from kind of their early ages with the original D1 10-watt and such. So a lot of that still is definitely relational to the D1 Pro as you get into that.
Yeah, basically the frame. I don't think they've changed the frame a whole lot, other than those little pesky moves they've made with the feet over the years. But the frame basically has remained the same. But the modules and some of the bells and whistles, of course, have gotten some pretty good improvements along the way.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep.
Brett Brett said he's currently running two 40-watt diode lasers. See, I told you, you buy one, it leads to another, to another, to another, to another. That's just the way it goes. Next thing you know, you'll have a lot. I'm, I've found a few. I've found a few that are out there. I've tried to stop getting as many machines in, but there's a few that are out there that really pique my interest. And it's so I've got. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to find out. Well, welcome aboard there, Blake. Man, we got several new folks in here. That's awesome. Community's growing.
Yeah. Great to see everybody, new and old.
Well, no, Chris, it just makes me have to go back and fix my files, and then have people fuss at me because I put in there measure the spacing before you burn the file, and a lot of people miss that, and so they burn the file and then they message me and go, "Hey, my legs are 2 millimeters off." I'm like, "Well, what was your measurements and which file did you use?" Well, I don't know what my measurements were. Well, I know why they're 2 millimeters too far apart. Use the other file, But yeah, I don't know why. I think Xtool did seriously do that just to mess with me, because they knew I had designed that file, and they're like, "Let's slide these over about 2 millimeters. That'll mess him up."
Yeah, you never know. But
Uh,
we talk a lot about lasers, but we talk about a lot of CNC type machines. So it includes now CNC routers, as you hear in the background, running in Clack Shop, as well as 3D printers. And Brent
yeah.
is asking you what advice you might have on the Ender 3 V2 Neo, because that's the one you just you got recently. You've been playing around with, right?
Yeah, and like, leave it to Creality. As soon as I get the thing in the house, they're gonna pre-release version 3. So now I'm wanting to see what version 3 is, because version 3 is basically the two upgrades that I had considered doing to mine, which is adding another Z-axis screw and the direct extruder. The version three's got it for almost the same price. So,
Yep.
it never fails. But no, I got it because I watched a lot of videos, a lot of reviews of different machines. A lot of people saying, the pitfalls. The main thing that I've heard from everybody, including Steve, was bed leveling is kind of the hardest thing to get your head wrapped around. Uh, so I did a lot of studying and a lot of reviewing. To be honest with you, the Ender 3 assembly, literally, you open the box, you take it out, you stand the gantry, I guess that's what I'm going to call it, stand it up, slide it down into the frame, put some screws in it, and you're pretty much done. I mean, there's not a whole lot. I think there was a few zip ties I had to add, but I mean, it's pretty much completely assembled. You had to mount the controller onto the side of it, but I mean, it literally assembling it took like 10 minutes, maybe. It probably took me longer to get all the parts out of the box and orient everything than it did to actually put it together. Uh, Now, with that being said, I followed the advice of a lot of other guys that I watched videos that know way more about 3D printing than I do. And their big thing was adjust everything before you start trying to use it. So I adjusted all of the concentric wheels, made sure I had nice, smooth movement. I checked everything. And then the bed leveling, I got the sheet of paper and just got the manual screws under the bottom. You just go around that thing, and like I went around it like 4 or 5 times, making sure I had them as close as I could get them. And then I just ran the auto bed leveling, and it finished it out. The auto bed leveling, from what I can tell, and somebody may prove me wrong, from what I can tell, basically, once you get it really close to level, it uses the sensor to determine if there's any slight adjustments need to be made, and it does that in the software, because it's not physically moving the bed. It's just controlling basically like a Z offset for the machine. And so once you get it close, the computer takes it from there. And I haven't moved my machine since I've did that. And I've been making a skeleton for my daughter for Halloween decorations, and I'm having to print like each bone one at a time.
Mhm.
And so far, it's still running good. That was the reason I went with the Ender 3 version 2 Neo. Is everybody said that it was really easy to set up, really easy to operate, and I'm also running the Creality filament, so that way I don't have to worry about, well, is the temperatures right for this filament, blah blah blah. And I've had really good luck. I mean, I've had a couple of them that I messed up, but it was early on before I realized that the enclosure that I bought is really cool, which really don't need it for a 3D printer, but I got it just so I could hide it because it's in the living room. I don't want Brandy fussing at me. But with PLA, you do not want to enclose it to where it gets really hot inside there, because that PLA will start giving you issues with the extruder. But once I realized that was the issue, I opened up the top and just left the top open on the enclosure, and it is printing really, really good. If I had some of the prints, I'd show you. But yeah, I got these. This was my beta test for my Sculpt Fun limit switch covers, and it's got some really good smooth edges and stuff. So it's working out really well. Every file that I have made myself has worked flawlessly, but I've been keeping it simple so far. Nothing too complex. Uh, is it leveling one of the? Well, so far, Brent, I would say pretty much, unless something gets bumped or moved, I don't see the way that it works mechanically. I don't see why you would need to relevel it unless something moved. And I haven't even ran the auto leveler anymore since I first set it up. So, and it's still printing great. I
Yeah,
probably do. I probably do need to do that occasionally, but I haven't.
so I've got it's an older Ender 3 Pro and an Ender 2 Pro, and one of the things, it doesn't have the auto bed leveling and such. Uh, but I did upgrade the springs on that to some stiffer springs to help that. But I have noticed that if I let it sit for a while, just the ambient temperature swings make those springs, things just a little bit. I might go and start it, and it might be a millimeter or two higher or lower than the last time. So um, that's one thing I've noticed in mine. If it's sat for a while, I don't. Uh, I better check the level before I run it again.
Yeah. Well, the temperature's pretty constant with it being in the house. If it was out here, I'm sure that would definitely be something to consider. But so far, like I said, I, I haven't had any problems out of it. That's all I can really tell you. Is this print like it's supposed to, and everything's working the way it's supposed to.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
Brian, I've got the upgraded orange springs on mine, like you mentioned there, and they do help. But yeah, if it sits for a while, it definitely needs a readjustment before I get too crazy with it.
yeah. I'm trying. I'm trying to catch up on these comments, man. I got behind.
I might actually have to close my doors. I got bugs coming in.
Oh. But yeah. Yeah, Brian. I guess that's the way it's going with everything, even with like lasers, because it wasn't too long ago that everybody was selling the 20-watt upgrade kits, and now you turn around by the time you get your 20-watt upgrade in, they release a new machine that comes with a 20-watt or a 40-watt in some cases. Uh, let's see, K1 Max A1. I don't know what that is. Is that a?
I think that's one of Creality's 3D printers.
Oh yeah, that is. Yeah, that's the four-post one that they have, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
I've looked at a lot of them, and guys, to be honest with you, I got something that was very cheap for my entry level because I didn't know. I didn't know exactly how much I was going to enjoy it, and to be honest, this was kind of the reason I got it, with small stuff like this. And I got it more or less so that I could design a file and go in the house, hit print, and while I'm out here working on other stuff, it can print for me. I'm really not doing it for production, so I wasn't as concerned about how fast it printed and all that. I know there are much faster machines out there. Uh, I do, like I said, I've looked at the Bamboo Labs with the 5 spools. That I think would be really cool to have, where I could like print multicolor. Uh, and I've looked at the new. I know Creality just came out with a new one that's comparable, but it's not quite as big, and it doesn't have the different color capability. But I'm just learning it, and as I go forward and learn more, I'll figure out exactly what I want to do with it. And then when I upgrade, I'll do just like I tell people with the machines. I'll figure out what exactly it is I want to make, and I'll order whichever machine is supposed to do the best at that particular job. So,
Yeah, the Bamboo Labs one is kind of on my Christmas wish list, and that's generally a thing I have to buy. So I don't know that I'll be getting that or not, but we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see. I got a number of things to get done between now and then. So
Yeah, Astro, I feel you on that. Like I said, but the price point, you couldn't beat it. it's for what I paid for that thing. And somebody asked, I don't know who it was, but I ordered it from Amazon instead of going directly through Creality. Nothing against Creality, but because of the business, I have Business Prime account, and when I start looking at those shipping times, even if I have to pay a little bit more, a lot of times I'll go ahead and order it from Amazon. Another thing is I've dealt with Amazon in years past. I've had some items that showed up broken or defective, and it's just simply fill a form out, ship it back to them. So that to me, that little bit of extra money I have to pay is worth the confidence of knowing that one, it's going to get here in 2 days, and two, if it breaks, they'll take it back and give me another one without any fuss. So that's I'm kind of I kind of lean toward Amazon on that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
I just realized that's a hobo with wood that hangs out with ah,
Rich.
Rich,
Yes, it
Louisiana hobby
is.
guy. Yeah,
Welcome to the stream tonight.
I just realized that. I've watched some of his videos, some of the stuff that he does. He does some pretty intricate work. He got a little more patience than I do. So good night or good evening to you there, hobo. It took me a minute to realize who that was. So your neighbor says he's got the Ender 3 Pro and it works good. But yeah, everybody says that the Ender 3 series is just an all around decent machine for the price.
Yeah, they've been around for a while, and making pretty decent products. So there's someone I trust mostly. Although you make enough products, every so often you're going to make one that's maybe not great. But
Yeah. Well, Jeff, I'm gonna be honest with you, Jeff. The 3D printer I've got, I can't even tell it's running or not unless I walk over and look at it inside the living room. So I don't know if that's unique to the Neo or what, but it's really really quiet.
there's some that are louder, for sure. So like some of the earlier enders, you could get like a quiet or a silent board for them. For me, it was always kind of funny hearing those comments because my first kind of computer controlled machines were CNC routers, and so everything has been quiet compared to those.
Yes.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
but
You kind of started out basically behind an airliner or something when you start out with a CNC.
yeah, but then I have it in my office behind my computer, and I try printing some things while I'm working at home, and I'm like, okay, that thing is kind of loud. So
Yeah. Well, Brent, from my research, without changing out the hot end on it, it is set up to do, and without changing out the hot end and the plate, it'll do PLA, ABS, and PETG, which I have all three. I haven't experimented with the others because I thought that the spools weren't going to last as long as they do, but man, I can't seem to use up a spool of it. So we'll see how that goes. I'm trying to catch up. Yeah, see, Brandy's telling everybody it's a matter of time before I upgrade. She knows me.
So, Brent's asking, is Fusion 360 worth it? Now, first off, you can get, you can try it out first, and they've kind of changed it over the years. They do have a version of it that is more or less free to continue using, but it is limited in what you can do with it at that point, I believe. But there are various ways that you can get good deals on it and discounts. So, you've been using it more recently. What are your thoughts as to its
Well,
value?
I have played around with some of the other softwares. Was it Tinkercad? Uh, that FreeCAD 2 or whatever. We got one of the CAD softwares we got. I've played with a few of them, and Fusion just seems to me to be a little more. It's just easier for me to learn, I guess. And now I still have a lot to learn. I can make squares, I can make circles, I can do basic stuff, but I've got a lot to learn, and I'm just kind of going as I go. I'll do better with it, hopefully. But to me, it's worth it. But you're going to have to ask yourself, how much are you going to be using it? What are you going to be using it for? And just kind of weigh it out. I mean, just like with anything. I mean, if you're not going to use it a lot, then it's probably not going to be worth it. But with me, I like prototyping my own designs. I like, I just, it's awesome. I use it for woodworking projects. I can go in and draw sketches. blueprint woodworking projects, enclosure builds, that type of thing. I can do a 3D rendering of things and kind of see if everything is going to fit. I can check to see if doors are going to swing without hitting stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do with Fusion 360 that some of the other software is limited with. So in my situation, it is worth it. But there again, if you're not making any money off the things that you're doing in it, it might not be a worthy investment for you in your situation.
Yeah, I think you hit a lot on a lot of the pluses to it of why you would want to use it, and that comes in when you're having multiple parts that need to interact, and you want to kind of test out their fit, test out the function. That's where Fusion 360 or any sort of 3D modeling software is going to help you out. The benefits to it are is it has a lot of features and functions outside of that. It has, the 3D CAD, but then it has CAM software built into it as well that you can utilize. And it can do some of that modeling and interference checking and such as well. So if you're planning on doing that, creating items that are three-dimensional or need to interact with each other, a software such as Fusion would be very useful. Now, looking at the free version, it might cover everything you need, and then sure, it's worth the value of your time to learn it, I guess, is the cost. Um, when you start getting into selling items and such, then you have to kind of look at how much are you going to do and what you can do with it, and if you need to kind of start paying for it, then at that point.
Yeah. Robert, the event went really well. It was hot, not what I was hoping for. But luckily, I had my fan, I had my little generator, which I did find out that my little wind generator was tops down, one of the quietest on the property. Everybody kept asking me, "What kind of generator is that?" That thing sure is quiet. But uh, but yeah, it was good. I met a lot of people from the channel that knew who we were, and there was a lot of people that didn't know who we were, but once they stopped and looked at some of the stuff, they were interested in what goes on and what we do. Uh, Believe it or not, another YouTube channel, and I think I saw him in here a minute ago. Uh, Famous in Flomaton won the Whiz Maker, or his wife actually won it and then gifted it to him. He had been at my tent and was watching the machine run because I was doing a few files for people while I was there. And he was like, "Man, I'd really like to have one of those. I want to use it to do this and do this." And this guy built his own camper out of plywood and resin. Like, I mean, it is awesome looking camper. So I'm kind of curious. There he is, right there. I'm kind of curious to see what he's going to be able to do with it, and I'm hoping he keeps us posted on his progress. But guys, he's got to do a lot of learning because he's used to using tools and making things, but the laser arena is going to be new for him. But his wife's name actually got drawn, but of course she gave it to him and told him Merry Christmas. So that's the only bad part about it is Flomaton. I hope there wasn't anything bigger on your Christmas list because you may have got swindled out of that now. But but yeah, he got the Whizmaker 20 watt, which you guys know is basically an XRP 20. It's a good machine. It's simple for somebody that's trying to learn, and I think it'll do him a good job. Victor, yes, I have. I have drank probably a whole gallon of sweet tea this afternoon. I was still dehydrated from yesterday. Steve, you've got a cricket.
Yep. Hey, earlier today I had a chipmunk in here as well, so I'll take the crickets.
Oh, me. Let's see. Well, I'm trying to catch up on comments. Man, they keep coming, guys. If we don't answer your comment right away, just keep in mind we're having to scroll through them, try to talk, answer questions, and all that. You're gonna have to get a boot and go get that cricket, Steve.
It's in a corner. I mean, I was killing wasps today. I killed a few crickets, and you know how they are. They're gonna crawl under the whatever corner. So it's the ambiance. We got to keep talking so the cricket doesn't have the show.
I'm supposed to be the one in the woods, not you.
Well, yeah, okay. Um,
Oh,
well, we're on a 3D printer kick tonight. Brent's wondering about the best build plate for the Ender as far as removing right off the printer without letting it cool. Um, without letting it cool at all, that's going to be difficult because generally part of its adhesion is warming up that bed and sticking to it. What I have had good luck with are the kind of the ultra flexible kind of spring steel build plates that that slaps down, and then you kind of twist it just a little bit. The things tend to pop off, and it doesn't take too long for that to cool once you remove that from the from the base plate. So they're not terribly expensive. I think I bought them for like $10 a piece or something like that. So depending on the version of your printer, I would look for one of those, and I can probably drop a link here for an example. Like I say, I don't know if this is going to work for your specific printer, but
The Ender 3, all the way up to the one that I've got, uses the same plate, and I would agree with you. I haven't used any others, but I will tell you the PEI plate, the spring steel plate, is really handy. And if you're trying to turn out stuff quick and you don't want to have to wait for it to cool to pop it off, go on Amazon, drop $15, order another one. And when you pop that one off of the machine because it's magnetic, set it to the side to cool, pop the other one on, and start your next engrave or your next print once it preheats. That's what I did. I went online, ordered me an extra one, tube fold in case I have a problem with the one. If I bend it, break it, whatever, I've got a backup. Plus, I can hot swap those things and just set it over on the counter and let it cool down. Come back by and like you said, Steve, you bend it and it just about jumps off of there.
yep.
So I can't speak to how the other plates work, but I can tell you that with PLA so far, that one has worked really well. Oh, there you go.
Atom Stack 30 Pro. Um, about the only thing I would say about the Atom Stack 30 Pro is, they start with a 400 by 400 frame, but that 30-watt module does shrink it down a bit. So you lose a little space there, but I love the air pump. I think you mentioned that. It's very similar to the Acer one you gave away with that Whizmaker. Love the air pump on that one. It's one of the better ones I've used. And I love the hose, the actual air hosing that goes between there. It's very flexible, but it doesn't kink very well. And the module seems pretty good. They've got a decent air assist cone on there and such. I haven't had problems with it other than it does restrict the size a little bit. The only thing with Atom Stack is it's confusing. They've got the A30, they got the X30. They're very similar.
The S series.
Yeah. I talk about having different models, similar to Ender. It just seems like they have so many out there that they should really consolidate. And then on top of that, there's atomstack.com, atomstack.net, atomstackmaker.com. It'd be nice if they could kind of consolidate so you knew that you were dealing with a legit from the source vendor. But no, I haven't had problems with the machine. I've never had to reach out to them for support though. So that's a thing I've been noticing more and more with a lot of them is, and this just could be that lasers have become more popular, and the more that gets sold, the more problems percolate up. Is how they respond and their QoS and their failure rate. So.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't ever have to. The only time I've ever had to deal with anybody was Acer that one time on that L24, and that wasn't exactly ideal. But I don't usually deal with these companies a whole lot. Most issues that I've had, it was a matter of adjustment or something. I've had any hardware failure, so knock on wood, I've been able to fix everything. The S. Are you talking about the S series, the similar to the S30 Ultra? Is it the Ultra or is it just the Sculpt Fun 20-watt? Because I don't have one of those to fit test. Okay, I'm wanting to come over there and kill the cricket now.
Fine, I'll just mute.
No. Oh. Okay, now it's too quiet. You got to come
Okay,
back.
fine.
I got used to the cricket now. Uh, I don't know exactly which series Sculpt Fun 20 watt you're speaking of. The only one that I have is the Ultra, but you have a different one other than the
So
Ultra, don't you,
yeah,
Steve?
I'm trying to think. I'd have to compare. I've got the S30. Well, I had the S10. I've since moved that on to a friend, um, and so I've got the S35 watt and the S3020. I have to go back and look. I've got a larger one as well, but I'm pretty sure the footprint and the feet on there are the same, at least the rear ones. So we could do
Yeah.
some comparison. I could take a look at those and do some measurements for you to compare to yours. And that would
Yeah, I know the Ultra has a lot bigger work area, and the feet are on the
well,
ends,
oh
so
yeah,
there would be some modification
yeah.
needed, I'm
So
sure.
I've got the standard S30. You've got the Ultra. That's right. So, but you
Yeah,
probably have the same if you've got the same size feet as far as what you would jig
yeah,
into. Then
yeah. From a manufacturing standpoint, I'm pretty sure the
yeah,
feet are the same because they attach to the extrusions, but the width is the only thing I would have to really adjust. I'd have to pull those legs in to get them to work where they need to be.
yeah.
Yeah, I am actually used to crickets, but it's just funny, guys. It's just funny. It could only be better if there was one of those green tree frogs in there, kind of synchronizing with the cricket. That would even make it better.
Yeah,
Because
well,
we have those green tree frogs, and here's something, y'all. Little known fact. We have a lot of those tree frogs, and of course at night they come to the back porch and get on the we got the French doors, and so they like to stick to the glass and grab bugs that run into the door. Well, Brandy will come out the door sometimes and be standing right there by the door, and one of those little guys will just like leap and stick to her, because you can't get rid of them. I mean, they stick like Velcro, but you want to see somebody freak out, you let one of the little green lizards hit her like right in the shoulder or something. It's funny. I need to get that on video. Uh,
so I know this question's come up a few times, but about attending the Lightburn experience in
mm-hmm.
October. I know you've said that it's a little too far for you to drive for this year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got about
Yeah.
5 days to make my decision, and I'm kind of waiting to find out on a couple things. But I'm still looking into it. I want to go. It wouldn't be terrible for me to drive. I think it's only about a 7 hour drive for me. So uh, I'm I've been looking at the itinerary, and there's definitely some interesting things. It sounds like they're going to be talking about the CNC control through Lightburn, CNC router control. So that would be really cool, along with being able to meet some people, and they've got kind of beginner, intermediate, and advanced classes. So I'm sure I'd be able to learn a lot as well. So I'm guessing this time next week I'll be able to let y'all know if I'm going to be there.
Yeah, yeah, Steve. See, my problem right now is it's during school year. Of course, my daughter's in the band, and I pitch in and help the band get their instruments to and from games, and so I can't, I just can't work it in my schedule right now. If it was in the middle of the summer when she was out of school and didn't have anything going on, and it wouldn't put a burden on anybody, I might be able to, but until we get to the point where I don't have those obligations, I'm gonna have to I have to schedule around that kind of stuff. So hopefully when I retire, maybe there'll be some events I'll get to go to that won't necessarily be here in Alabama.
Yeah, that's a little bit for me. Is I'm kind of looking to see if I'm going to be available and not needed back at home for some of those things as well. So
Yeah. Sean, I know me and Steve both use a variety of woods. As you can see, some of the wood propped up behind him that he needs to send to me. Uh, we get wood from sawmills. I have my own sawmills, so I really don't have to go anywhere to get it. Uh, I use Home Depot. I use my local hardware store. I use a lot of and it's a lot of people say it is junk, but it works. 4.5 Luan underlayment, and yes, there are some sheets. Every now and then I'll get a sheet, and it'll be riddled with glue pockets and stuff like that. But those are very rare, and when I do find them, it's really for the cost and what I'm doing with it. It's worth taking a chance. Now there's sometimes that you don't want to use this stuff. I mean, I have the ability to take black walnut or take oak or take cedar or whatever I want to take and cut it into quarter-inch pieces at the sawmill. So if it's something that I'm making that I want to use a hardwood, that's an option for me. I know there's a lot of companies now that are starting to sell solid wood sheets, so to speak, but I haven't tried a whole lot of that. And I know Steve, you like the what is it, the Baltic birch and a couple of others that you've got that's kind of your go-to.
Yeah, so back when I was doing more with my RC hobby and producing products for that, and when Baltic birch was far more reasonable than it is now, I was actually connected with a hardwood dealer. They're actually out of Iowa. They're about 3 hours away from me, but they made weekly trips up this way, and uh, I could pay. I think it was $15 delivery fee, and they'd bring it right to my shop. And so that's where I got a lot of my sheet goods. Um, and now you can still get those. There's actually a local dealer here that I can get it, but definitely marked up the price a lot more. And I've gone to places like Woodcraft and Rockler as well up in the Twin Cities. And then there's hardwood dealers. There's a place called Discount Lumber, and they have both sheet goods and some both domestics and exotic hardwoods as well. So, looking around for stores like that, whether they're cabinet makers or hardwood dealers locally, can maybe net you some deals. Otherwise, there are places online like Ooch Hardwood out of Wisconsin, and Woodworkers Source is like out of Arizona, though they're a bit more expensive if you need to mail order it as well. But otherwise, yeah, look for a sawmill in your area. There's generally places around, and if you've got some, generally it's helpful to have some tools like planers and table saws and stuff for that. But a lot of times you can get some decent wood from them, and if you've just got a bandsaw and even a palm sander, you can get it down workable to quarter-inch flat goods for you to use.
Yeah, and that's what I do a lot of times too. Even if I don't cut, let's say like some of my black walnut, I cut it in like 2.5 inch slabs, dry it, and then I can bring it into the shop. And just like you said, I'll take it and put it on the bandsaw and just set my fence at a quarter-inch and just slice off pieces of it. Like if somebody wanted, I had a lady that wanted a thing for a necklace and she wanted it made out of some hardwood. I went with black walnut or either black walnut or mahogany. I'm not sure which. But I wanted it, a quarter of an inch thick so that I could, and you have to position the grain, and there's a whole bunch goes into it. But I was able to do that with some of the stock that I have cut. I keep a lot of it up at the mill air drying, and then of course I've got a pile that's like right through there, but you can't see it because the TV and everything's in the way. It's not quite as big as Steve's pile there. My wife stays on me about getting rid of wood, so I try to use it up. But a lot of times too, especially if you're doing like the rustic, like cabin signs and stuff, guys, you can get stuff that these small sawmillers would throw away. They'll let you have it just to keep from having to deal with it or burn it. If they do charge you anything, it'll be like $5 a truckload, $10 a truckload, as long as you load it. I have people that come and get my scraps and use it for camping and stuff. They take and cut it up, use it for firewood. And I just let them have it, just so I don't have to take it and burn it and babysit a big bonfire all day. So go on Facebook or some of the groups and look for a sawmill. You might find that your neighbor 3 houses down has a sawmill and throwing away good wood that makes really nice plaques and stuff.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. But even so, if you don't find that, there's a lot you can do. If you've got a home center and they sell cedar picket fences, those work really well for making rough signs. There's this time of year, Halloween lanterns are really popular, and you just cut a face into the one, and it's a box. You glue and staple or pin it together and put an LED light in there and go. Those planks are pretty cheap still. They're usually a bit rough, but they sand down really quickly. Just your typical DeWalt random orbit sander, 120 grit on there will get a nice finish on that as well. So it doesn't have to be some exotic source. Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards here, any other kind of typical home center should have those.
Et, As with anything, price is heavily dependent on the market. Your market may be really, really high. Your market may be really, really low. You just got to get out, and it takes some legwork to figure that out. Also, custom work is going to bring you the premium, whereas cookie cutter stuff, it's it's going to sell, but it's just your profit margin is going to be a lot less significant. So, what do you think about that, Steve?
Um, yeah, speaking of the lanterns, those became really popular in the Onefinity group a couple of years ago, and some people were selling them like hotcakes, couldn't keep up with it. Others were making them and they weren't selling at all. And typically, people were saying, "Well, I'm offering them at $25 a piece." So it very much will depend on your market, but also I mean, I guess how you go out there and market them too. You got to be willing to put it out there a few different places and promote them a bit. Um, but yeah, I would definitely say anything you can do where you offer customization, that's where you're really gonna be able to ask more for it. Because as we're all noticing, we're, lasers getting very popular. A lot of people are getting them, so you can't just expect to do the same thing that you're seeing online if five of your neighbors are doing the same. So anytime you can show how you can customize it and make it special and unique, that's where you're really going to be able to do well. As yeah, I don't know. The cutting board again is going to depend on are you making the cutting board yourself out of hardwood, or are you buying a bamboo one off Amazon? That's going to have different intrinsic value to the person as well. So
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, pretty much if you find the right settings, I haven't found a wood yet that you can't make something out of. Oh, you just got to find the right settings. Da, da, da. There you
yes. Well, yeah. I if you try the pizza from there, you're a braver person than I.
go. Casey, yes, I do have one for the Comgrow Z1. Uh, it's on my Etsy shop. You should just be able to keyword search it by Comgrow or Z1. But it's there. It's been there for a while now. I don't. I haven't been told that they've made any modifications since I built that file, but that file's been out there for a while. But I haven't had any complaints. But it's in there. There should be a folder for interchangeable jig kits, and I can drop a link if I need to, but it shouldn't be that hard to find. Uh, Sean said he's a pro at resin printing and filament. So if we need a professional opinion, we'll get Sean to answer the question for us.
Yeah, combining 3D printing and laser engraving. That's a good niche to get into. You know, finding
Yeah,
where each one works well, combining the two.
yeah. The link, Steve. What's
That's
what
the link
links
I
he talking
dropped
about?
in.
Yeah, I mean, you could just navigate over to the Neo. Oh, you're talking about okay. You're talking about that part.
Yeah, it was that.
Uh,
It was that.
that's not the one that I bought, I don't think. But what does it say? Does it say it's compatible with it?
Well, this one, like I said, I bought that a year and a half ago. It's for the Ender 3, Ender 3 Pro, Ender 3 V2, Ender 5, CR20, CR20, but they don't list the Neo. So
Yeah.
if you got one you can recommend that
Well,
would
this
work,
is
that's
this
definitely gonna
is
be
this
better.
is the one that I've actually used it, so I know it works. It's identical to the one that came with my machine, but I can't say that other one won't work. Uh, and I'll drop this link right here. That is the one that I just bought, and it is identical to the one that came with my machine, and it fits the bed space. Uh, it comes with a magnet, but if you've already got a magnet on your bed, you don't have to use it. So I've got like an extra sheet of magnet. I've actually thought about trying to cut it with a laser and making refrigerator magnets out of it, but I haven't. So, oh, my comments just went crazy when I posted that. Oh, I just lost all my comments. So if you see anything we haven't answered, Oh, wait a minute. There they come.
Um, sure. I'm just going to drop that link in my chat as well, so people can catch it there. I did see one. Someone was asking. Mark was asking. It just bounced. Sorry. Best laser camera mount that I'm guessing that we've used. Um,
The,
so
the ones I
you
make.
have well,
The ones
right.
I make.
So out of the ones you've tried, I mean, you've had the Comgrow, the Atom Stack, and now the Sculpt Fun. I haven't had the opportunity to check out the Sculpt Fun one, but the the Comgrow one is nice because it's very rigid. I mean, once it's in place, I don't think it's really moving. However, it's very inflexible with how you mount it. It really kind of has to be center and square because it's everything's just at right angles. The Atom Stack and also IKEA makes the same one, and I think someone else. It's very flexible because they've got kind of the ball linkages and the stuff. So you can definitely mount it to the side and still move it around and get it square. However, I feel that it's more apt to getting bumped and if you have it out in the open versus in an enclosure kind of area, uh, I would be concerned with it getting out of alignment if it's going to be easily bumped. Um, Both the cameras though with those kits, I
Be
think
right back.
fared fairly well. Now the Sculpt Fun I think is more like the Comgrow where it's fairly rigid in its mounting, but um, might have a slightly better camera on it. But definitely, I mean, if you have an enclosure and you can hard mount it to the top of that, that's definitely going to be the best way. So, Clack ran away. So we'll see what he has to say with that when he gets back.
Sorry, had to run out for a minute.
Sure.
I think my headset disconnected.
Okay.
Give me just a second.
If anybody's got something to say about Clack, now's your chance because he can't hear us. Oh, now is he back? So,
All right, I think I'm back now. Yeah, I hear the cricket. I'm good.
other than the ones you make, out of the ones you've tested, what are your thoughts for the camera mounts?
Comgrow's not a bad camera. It is one of the more rigid ones. Uh, First of all, are we going into an enclosure, or are we just going to be setting it like on a table? I mean, because it just depends. The And it also depends to me on what kind of camera you're planning on using. I do like the new Sculpt Fun camera as far as rigidity, ease to adjust, easy to make sure it stays square. I like that thing. It has a really good picture. Now I don't know that it would work with the larger work areas, but I personally run fisheye cameras in my enclosures, and I build my own mounts for them. So, in the enclosures, matter of fact, here we go. I'll show you. This is the raw view off of my enclosure over on Enclosure That's a 37-inch workspace right there. Yeah, 30, 20, yeah, 37 and some change altogether as far as the honeycomb goes. And I can calibrate this camera and have a millimeter and a half to 2 millimeter accuracy out of the camera. So I make my own mounts. I cut them out of acrylic and mount them up there. I've got a box that I made that's in the other enclosure that I use. But I run those cameras, and it's just because they're cheap and they flush mount to the top of the enclosure, so I don't have a whole lot of problems of them coming loose or getting in the way or anything. Let me pull the other one up and I'll show you what the other one looks like if I can get it to load. If Stream Deck hasn't got it. This
So,
one's a little washed out right now because I got the lights turned up so bright in there. But that's the. Let me turn the lights down just a place. But that's the other enclosure, and that's the same fisheye camera. Like I said, I get on that small workspace, I can get millimeter and a half accuracy out of it consistently. So it just uh, it just depends on the application.
So on the Sculpt Fun camera, is that is the mounting of that fairly universal, or is it set up really just to mount to their rails?
It'll mount to the 20 millimeter extrusions. That's probably the best way to mount it, but it also comes with a clamp. Hang on, let me get the clamp. Uh, oh, it's too high. Ew. All right, I did the video on it, but here's my little. This is my box of goodies for the Sculpt Fun cover. But this is the clamp that it comes with, and it's aluminum, anodized aluminum. It's got some countersunk holes right there. The nut on this piece is even like machined aluminum or steel or something. I mean, it's really sturdily built. So, X Tool, Asmer, Acer, any of the machines that have the square frame, this fits them. I've checked it with the X Tool. It does fit. It grips it really well, and because it's all metal construction, you can put some pressure on it. It's got like a little polybutylene bushing right there, so you could actually get a couple of extra twists in and compress that thing a little bit to keep some good pressure on there. It'll also clamp to a table if you needed it to. You could technically, I mean, you could put it anywhere you wanted to. If you had an enclosure, you could even take and mount you a piece of wood in the back of your enclosure and just clamp this to, say, a 1x4 or something like that. And that way you would still have the vertical adjustment. You can slide it up and down that vertical adjustment to get to the ideal position. But yeah, the extrusions, it works really well. It's actually the thing I like about it is I've got the machine hanging on the wall right now, but the camera is still mounted to it, and I can sit it on the table, and that camera is operational without any calibration or anything. So that's really cool because it's technically made to the machine, and it's really clean design the way they got it put together.
Nice.
But it would work with that. It would work with the Niji that you got too. I don't know
Yeah.
about the workspace; might be a problem. But it would actually connect to those extrusions just like it does for the Sculpt Fun. Mine works really well. Hang on, I'll get light burn up and I'll show you. Hang on, let me turn it up. Let me turn the machine on where I can get light burn up and I'll show you guys.
Well, while he's doing that, Brent, assuming you're talking about the 3D printers, and yes, I've actually used a similar file where it moves the nozzle around to the four corners, and then you use your spacer or feeler gauge to get everything level. So definitely a G-code file that runs through the printer lets you do that is a good way to get it dialed in to close to level.
All right. Well, what did I miss? Is it Brian being Brian?
No, just Robert looking over his shoulder for the dang cricket. See, the beautiful
Well,
thing with my headphones is I don't hear it.
you know
So,
what? This really annoys me. I just calibrated this darn camera again last night, and it has lost calibration. Lightburn, please fix that. I don't understand it. I would show you how the picture looks on my large enclosure, but looks like we're gonna have to go to the secondary enclosure over here because that one's not retaining the 0 for some reason. Or either my port has changed one. Oh no, Lightbird's just being weird. Yeah, Lightbird's been funky for some reason.
yeah, usually when they're in stationary enclosures like that, they tend to work a lot better.
Yeah, it usually works really well. I don't know what I got going on today though. It could be that I was playing with that other camera earlier. It may have janked me up a little bit there, but yeah, I'm having a heck of a time. Now it's swapping machines, but it's keeping the bed space size. Lightburn's going crazy on me. Give me a second. Let me see if I can get it work. If I can't, we'll just rock on. But it works really well. I've got plenty of videos showing the setup and showing how they work. There we go. I got this one working. But there is that's the fisheye, but you can see the work area there. When I move the machine around, let me go ahead and home this guy so I don't break anything. You can see over here on the right side. That's actually the raw video off of the camera. But if I wanted to move the machine up into this corner here, I'll update the overlay once I get it moved up there. It moves it. I mean, it works. They work really well because the lens correction actually winds up fixing all of the anomalies. Let me update it. Now I got some material in there. And so, like I said, I just powered this on. Y'all saw me do that. So we'll put us a little 5x5 circle in the work area and go out there and burn that guy. Let me frame it first, make sure. Look at the speed on that guy. God. All right. Yes, my exhaust is not on because it's broken.
Why'd you break it?
The fan went out. I got another one coming.
Mm.
All right, so I'm gonna update the overlay. Zoom in, and that's a 5mm circle. And as you can see, it's really close. And I just powered the machine on, so that's what maybe a millimeter and a half, 2 millimeters off. But like I said, they're not exact, but they are really good tools. You can do a really good job of alignment using these guys. It makes my life a lot easier. Let me change that to a line. I don't want to. All right, 50 millimeters. Let me change that. Yes. But yeah, it's they're handy to have. I enjoy the cameras. Watch the speed. I mean, it's pretty bad when your camera can't keep up with the frame rate of the machine moving. And as you can see, I got a little shadowing right there, up and to the left, maybe a millimeter or two. But for the most part, it gets you really close. And those are the fisheye cameras that I use. And I got links in every video I've done on those fisheyes, so you can check those out. Yeah, I don't know about the Laser Master 2. If I have a file on the Laser Master 2, I think I did have, but I think that was one of the ones that me and somebody collaborated on. But yeah, I have the file for the P20 still. It's the same as the V35. The V35 and the P20 are the exact same frame. That cricket is dedicated, buddy.
What are your thoughts on this Armory that might have a bad board on a Z1?
It's hard to say without being able to check the outputs and stuff. I'm not going to say it's not possible. What I would say though is a lot of these machines, other than the fixture for the motherboard, a lot of these machines, I think you could probably change that controller out if you could find one for another machine. Every one I've ever took apart, they use the same connectors for the x-axis, the y-axis, the limit switches. When you're swapping them out, they take the same plugs. So I would think it would be pretty cross-compatible.
The only thing on the Z1 is it's got dual Y motors.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
So I'm not sure that anyone would work for that. So, but yeah, especially when you have multiple lasers configured in Lightburn, you'll notice sometimes that you'll boot up Lightburn and your default laser comes up and your laser comes on and starts working anyway until you notice something maybe seems off in the calibration and you realize it's running off the wrong one, but it's actually working. So
Yeah. Con 6.
but I know hopefully Conbro could get back with you on that as far as if they could save the firmware if it flashed wrong or what a replacement board would take. Sometimes that means going on their social media site and connecting with people there rather than through their official channels, unfortunately. Sometimes you get a better response talking to them on, through Facebook or Instagram or something. But
Have you tried downgrading the firmware? Maybe the upgrade didn't take. Maybe you could downgrade the firmware and go back to like version 1 or something. Maybe that might be an option. If you still have a copy of the original firmware, never throw away old firmware. Because you sometimes you can reflash the older firmware and it'll go back to working. Yeah, Mark, that's Go Fun camera. They kind of built it to fit most any machine because when they sent me the camera at the time, I didn't have a machine of theirs to try it on, and I told them I didn't have a machine that it would work on, and they're like, it'll work on any machine, so feel free to use whatever machine you want. And I've measured most of the machines in here. The Acer's a little on the thick side, but like I said, you could always take a piece of 1x4 and mount it inside your enclosure and use that to clamp to as a fixed position, and it would work. So it's pretty neat design camera, and it's oh, that thing's heavy. Hang on, let me get it. It's huge.
yeah, anytime you can actually mount it to the laser versus the board or the table, I think you get a little less likelihood that it's going to bump out of place.
That's let me set it on the table over here, guys. But this is the mounting for the extrusions, and that thing's solid. Let me get it propped up where I can reach over there. Well, if my arms are long enough. But you can see right here, well, if I can get it down here, it doesn't move. Like, it's part of the machine. And this is a huge machine, guys. This thing. But it works really well. The picture is good quality. Hang on, I'll see if I can get it to plug up and work. I got a CNC setting in the way over here. This thing takes up my entire table. So, plug that up. See if Lightburn's gonna hog it. Well, now that camera's looking nice. Now that I, that's the ASMR enclosure, guys. Let me see if I can get the other one to pull up here. No, that's trying to use. That's enclosure Zilla, and yes, it works well. But if for some reason my calibration didn't stick that I did last night, trying to use the Elgato, that's not going to work. Yeah, I guess Lightburn is going to hog that, or either my streaming software is. But I've got a video on the. I've got a video on that camera, and I'll try to do some more work with it to just show you guys, because I really want to do a video of after I've had it hanging on the wall for a little while, putting it back down and seeing how accurate the camera stays. Because I do like that. I do like that thing. Lightburn does not like config files on network drives. What? Config files on network drives. Are you talking about like executing from a config file? I would imagine not, because the ping time on that, the timeout time, you'd have to set the timeout way up there if it was a network drive, unless you had a smoking hot network. But I'm not following. Yeah, Eddie, that's a good machine. Like I said, it's It surprised me, and the work area of it's huge. The only downside to it is I don't currently have an enclosure it'll fit in, so I have to use it on the table. But it works. Sup, John? Oh no, my settings aren't on a network drive. If that's what you're asking, Chris, they're locally stored now. I've got them backed up, but they're on a local drive. My computer actually has 6 local drives in a RAID. It's huge. So, but no, it's for some reason I think it's because I've got too many cameras that I've installed in Lightburn over the years. I've got to go into the software and figure out where to take those out because I've got cameras that are still showing up in Lightburn that I don't even have anymore. So I've got to learn how to tell Lightburn to not touch them when I connect them to the computer. Matter of fact, I bet I could probably take and pull up that Sculpt Fun and be able to see that camera even without the machine powered on. No, I gotta have the machine powered on. But it did show up the Sculpt Fun camera 500 though. Anyway, moving on. X-Tool pass through. Is that you, Steve? Is that your little guy that you're dealing with?
No, I mean they have a small conveyor for the F1. Otherwise, the P2 does have the has that conveyor thing as well on it. But yeah, not sure if that's either one they're talking about.
Yeah. All right, we missed our window, but guys, if you hadn't already, like, follow, subscribe, and also go check out the laser engraving community page that we have. A lot of you guys are in there and already know about it, but we like to try to spread the word. So that is the Facebook group, and you can just go on there, search for laser engraving community, and hit that button to join. A lot of useful information in there. We try to answer questions when we can and keep the robots and the trolls out.
You mean they're not going to design free logos for all of us?
No. No. And they're not going to be like pricing our workforce. Beaver Creek. I guess Beaver Creek's having some problems with getting parts, maybe? Yeah, Beaver, like I said, I can't speak to any of these companies' customer service because I've never had a machine really go down except for the one, and I suspect it was my fault because I left it on for like 3 or 4 days and didn't realize it because it was so quiet, and I think maybe the steppers just sat there and overheated. But I've never had to deal with them, so I really can't. I really can't say. Parts and support's not something I need a lot. Most of the times, to be honest with you, I can troubleshoot my own machines and fix them without having to call them, especially if it's software related or something like that. And if I can't, I got to phone a friend. I just call that guy up there. And between the two of us, we put our brains together, figure out what the problem is, and typically come up with a solution. Now, there has been once or twice he's actually called me because I had the machine first, and he just didn't want to have to spend the time to figure it out. Me and Steve kind of take care of each other in that aspect. If there's a problem with a machine and I know Steve's had one, I know he's figured out how to fix it. So I just send him an email or call him and be like, hey, how did you fix this? So yeah. That's the benefit of that laser engraver community group I was telling you about. A lot of the problems can be fixed without having to contact support.
Yeah, I there's sometimes I've even just tested it to be curious. I've come up with a issue and I've contacted them when people have mentioned that. But when you don't have a part that's failed, the only one that I've had is Ortour. I had an issue with the module, and Unfortunately, yeah, that's kind of during their time when they were going through this transition with their main support person and Justin Tan leaving. And that one is yet to be resolved as well. So I I don't know. I think right now they're all dealing with issues, and it's unfortunate when you get a bad machine like that out of the gate. Um, that is, like you mentioned earlier, one of the reasons that if they have an Amazon shop and you can order it through there, Amazon's going to have your back as well, at least when it's brand new. When you have a problem down the road, though, of course, it's going to be kind of up to the support structure for it. And yeah, I feel bad for people when they do get a problem machine with any of these companies because I feel like it's hit or miss if they do get support. So um, yeah, like Joseph's saying there, his X tool has been hard for him to get parts from as well. So uh, I don't know. I don't want to call out anyone or give anyone a free pass on it because I think I've seen posts and or experienced it from kind of across the spectrum.
Well, and another thing too that you have to consider, not knocking anybody in the group that has, personal experience, but if you go by what you read in a lot of the forums and the threads, very few people that are 100% satisfied with customer service ever file a complaint. So I know in my line of work, I get a lot of people call when they're not happy with how my guys did their job, but you don't get very many people, getting on the internet going, "Oh man, these guys did such a great job." So it's hard to say for sure because I have never had to deal with them. And so, if you have personal experience with one particular brand, I promise you, it's probably across the board with every brand. I know pretty much every fast food restaurant I've ever been to, I could find problems there, and the laser industry is it's going to be the same way. I mean, I've had to go deal with the car dealerships before, and you don't always get the best customer service there either. So that's why I try to fix all the stuff I can myself if possible through research and just being careful. But I mean, sometimes you just get a lemon. You get one of those Monday machines or a Friday machine. Uh, Monday morning they're all in there trying to work after partying all weekend and they mess up. And of course, Friday they're trying to hurry up and get home where they can party and they mess up. So just hope when you order you get like a Tuesday or Wednesday machine.
Yeah, and another good point by Joseph here is that they're still having issues with getting things imported. My other hobby with RC airplanes, there's a backlog of such, and people are getting frustrated because it's coming to the end of the flying season, at least up in the northern states, and the stuff they ordered and hoped to have, in July and August, we're still waiting for it, and that's it's across a lot of areas, so it's unfortunate that sometimes supply issues are amplifying those support issues.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, a lot of that is just the times we live in and the way that things are. But it's it's just one of those things, I guess. I don't know what else to really say about it. Hang on, I got to find my shirt, lady. Why in the world can I never find her place? Private. That's a private group. Give me a minute. I did a video on the shirts. This is one of the ones that the lady that's here locally did for me, and her Facebook page is a little bit of style, and for some reason, she's got a private group that keeps popping up when I'm trying to search for it, and so and my a little bit of style. Well, maybe she did away with her Facebook page. Uh, hmm, that's odd. Let me go back and find my shirt video, and
Yeah,
I'll get you a link to her page. But
yeah, Joseph, this is very true. Amazon has spoiled everyone with expecting a very quick delivery, um, and I've dealt with that for a number of years in as I was operating my foam flight business with model airplane stuff. You had to be on the ball and ready and ship it out quickly, or people are asking you, where are these, where are these, where are these? So it's definitely put a different pressure on anyone that's doing mail order stuff and shipping items. So
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those guys that's spoilt by Amazon. So
oh, we all are. Yeah, I know. I even get mad at Amazon when I go. I was
when it's
I
not
did
two
this.
day,
No, no, no. Well, I mean, I don't get next day delivery for most anything, but typically it might be 2 day. But I was ordering. I actually decided finally I'm going to get the California Air Tools 8 gallon compressor to replace my 2 gallon one. And when I ordered it, as well as the honeycomb for this Nietzsche laser, on their page it says order in the next 3 hours and get it by Sunday. And so I put it in the cart and I go to check out and it says, okay, do you want it delivered on Monday or do you want it on Prime Day, like a week and a half? And I'm like, what happened to my Sunday option?
yeah.
So,
Whoever it was asking about the shirts that I got on. This one here. My friend over at Little Bit of Style makes those. I do have a video that has a bunch of different ones that she makes. So if that's something you're interested in, she's a local creator. I don't get any money off of it. She does it as a hobby. Her and her husband. I met them through doing a lot of events with them, and they're nice people. And she uses it kind of like her side hustle. The the way that we do with the lasers. So I just try to support her in that. So if you do want one, you got to go to her because I don't deal with it, but you can message her page, let her know, and she'll tell you how to go about getting it and which ones she has. She'll even do some custom stuff, but it has to be something that I approve of. So that way nobody, just do creative. Yeah, I know what you were thinking, Steve. You're like, dang it. But
that's
but yeah,
okay. I got my own T-shirt guy.
that's right. Well, I don't do t-shirts, and like I said, that's kind of then their space. You know what I mean? And it's just not my thing. I
No,
do
actually,
have I do have the Spring Shop attached to my YouTube channel. I don't
yeah,
make any money. I don't make any money off of those things because they're like 20 something bucks already.
right, yeah,
So I've just basically got it to where I think they make you make a profit. So I think I make like a penny a shirt.
right. Yeah, no, I actually did have a T-shirt guy, but he retired, so I need to find a new one locally for doing some of that stuff. Tell you, trying to go through and find a good T-shirt that fits well and doesn't shrink and all that jazz. You can go through quite a few trying to find the right one. So knowing someone that has some experience with them and just working with them on it, that's definitely nice.
Yeah, Joseph, I've tried it on blue jeans, and I will tell you that be very careful. Keep your spritzing bottle handy. And it will damage the material. And after you wash it a time or two, it'll probably have a big hole in it. It looks cool. I mean, I've seen a lot of companies advertising that you can, engrave on blue jeans and stuff, and you can, but it does affect the durability of the fabric. I have tested that, and it does affect how well they hold up. All right, guys, getting awful quiet here, but yeah, go check out a little bit of style if you want one of the shirts like this one, or there's several other ones. If you want one of the fluffy shirts that Steve likes so much, you can get one of those.
I mean, I like cats.
Mike, it was a that was a extra. Was it a large or extra large? I don't remember, but I bought those for another event. That was just a leftover. My bad. I'm gonna try to get some more. Brandy got on to me, so I need to order some more shirts next time we have an event and take a bunch of shirts with me. But guys, that's like I said, because you know nobody gives me a discount on these shirts, so that's a lot of money if I go buy 50 shirts.
Yeah, and you
But
definitely want a good quality. I've gotten some shirts from some people in the past. Some of them are those custom print order ones, and
yeah,
like four times through the washing machine, and it's half disintegrated. So
yeah.
no one wants to pay it for a $26 shirt that turns into junk within a few
Yeah.
washes
Well,
like that. So
well, I've worn this one several times. I want to get me another one made, and I'm going to make me another one like this one. But I want the. Let me stand up here. I want the design, the shop, like my little banner right there. I want it on there, but I'm just going to put just making smoke. I think that'll. I mean, that's awesome. Just making smoke.
I mean, that could have a different connotation up here in
It
Minnesota now
could.
after August
It
1st, but
it could. It could, but it get people to ask questions.
yeah.
Did you say? Did you see my live or my short I did earlier? Did you see
No,
that one?
I've been staring at lasers all day. That's
Oh,
why I'm kind of blind right now.
oh, you didn't see it. I wish I had a way of showing it to you with it. Hang on, let me see if I can add it. I got to be able to add it.
I don't know. You're hyping it up. It better be good.
Hang on, let me see if I got to make sure I can add it with sound. Well, crap, I got to download it. Hang on, because it was a short. It's not one I've got in my queue back there. Give me just a second. Let me download this guy.
Yeah, Mike. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do a whole video or anything on it, but I'll definitely share things, through stories and this live and other stuff. So, but it's been something. I know other people have used it with much larger lasers as well. So I have no doubt it's going to work well.
Here we go. Oh, oh, my wife was like, "Yeah, that's about it. You missed your shop so much." She's like, "You could miss your wife."
She was with you. How could you miss her? She was there with her.
That's what I told her.
Yeah.
We were together. But man, when I
Right.
walked back in the door, that was the feeling I had. So I just grabbed the phone. And I was like,
Um. Okay.
shoot. Oh, that was awesome. I just, I enjoy it, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I've ever had a hobby I've enjoyed as much as I do coming out here working and making stuff. Like I said, I had the little CNC over there turning out some stuff. Still trying to learn the CNC world. It's getting better, but no, she didn't fall for that, Joseph. She's not really into that. Oh, yeah, yeah, Mark. I think most everybody in here is probably old enough to know what that is. There's a couple of guys maybe that come through, but yeah, I enjoy being out here. And when I don't get to come out here and work, it's like I don't get to go to therapy or something. So I was really happy when I walked back in the door. Had the smell of wood because I've got the cedar. I've got it's just it's awesome.
No, it is awesome to have a hobby that you can enjoy and you get excited about, and that you're able to turn it into a business and not lose that kind of drive for it. So,
That's right. Eddie said it's a very sexy shop. I think so.
well, I mean, you know how they say things look better on TV than in person, and yeah,
Yeah. Hey, what can I say? I know how to work my lighting. I make it look better than it is. What does amaze me, and I'm gonna be honest with you, is how clean it looks in the videos. It's not that clean. There's dust everywhere. Like I mean, it's well, actually, for some reason, it's not dusty up there right now. But look, dust. It's
yeah.
everywhere. But it looks clean. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm one of those type of people that I notice things in the background. Like if you share a photo or you get a video or something, I tend to notice those things. And so I'm always self-conscious about what is showing in some of my stuff, and I try not to be too much because there's the flip side of that where, there's the channels and the videos where you're like, okay, this is obviously a studio. You don't actually make things in that shop. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, well, if I had room for a studio, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'd have one. But I don't have room for one. So this is actually a shop, and there's actually stuff being made here. Uh, and I enjoy it. It's not healthy for the computers. I will tell you that. I blew my computer out. I've got this habit that every Saturday I blow the computer out with compressed air to get all the dust out of it, so that I don't overheat it Sunday night when I'm trying to do all this stuff. And I blew it out yesterday, and it was just, I mean, it was bad, like really really bad. Uh, hopefully my next shop, I'll be able to separate some of the dust generating tools from the computer equipment, but we'll see how that goes if I ever get it. Yeah, I need to get the theme song to Cheech and Chong. That'd be nice. I can put that over here with my I can put that over
I
here with my
mean,
other little.
it's that or Sanford and Sons.
No.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Okay, now you're just getting all of them out of your system.
Well, I've been waiting on Brian. He didn't give me a cue, so I figure I might as well use them. But yeah, Joseph. Like I said, I for the longest. I mean, I don't get it with some people. You know, you hear people talk about, man, I gotta get out of the house. I gotta go somewhere. I gotta go on vacation. And my thing is like, I just want to get off work where I can come home and work in this shop. You know, I mean, I don't want to go somewhere with a bunch of strange people that I don't know and have to look over my shoulder constantly. I want to be here where I don't have to look over my shoulder and I can have fun. So, that's, I guess it's different. Me and Brady were talking about that the other day because we've got friends that, like, if they're not at work, they're at somebody's house, they're going out to eat, they're over at the movies, they're doing this, they're doing that. And, I would rather just be out here in my shop. And of course, Brandy would rather be out working in the yard or sitting in the room watching TV or sitting on the porch. Or, I mean, I guess we're just, I think we're old. I honestly think we're just old.
Yeah, that's probably part of it.
But I do, man. I mean, and I guess, I had an old man, tell me one time that, when you want to be at home with all your being, you'll have a happy home. So I guess I've made it to that point finally in my life to where I'd just rather be at home.
Yeah, it's I hear you on that too. I mean, there's a lot of times when I'm just excited to get home, and if I don't if I don't run some errands on my way home from work, I'll come home and go, yeah, maybe I can do those tomorrow, or maybe I'll just order that on Amazon and it'll come in 2 days instead of me having to drive 15 minutes across town to get it. So,
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Well, let me specify. I've gotten old. Brandy's still younger than me. How about that? Yeah, that would. I do count my blessings, and that's one thing that that's the one thing that I don't want to ever do is forget, guys. I don't know how many of y'all have saw the pictures of what this shop used to be. Uh, it was literally a pole barn with a dirt floor, no walls. All this wood that you see on the walls come off of my sawmill. When I got that sawmill and started cutting wood and cutting lumber for money, that's when I was able actually to put back some money and expand upon this. Now this building is only like 20 by 24. It's not as big as it looks in the videos. It's actually really compact. Uh, but but yeah, I do sometimes forget and take for granted that a lot of you guys are stuck by whatever reason, for whatever reason you're stuck in an apartment, a townhouse, or whatever, and luckily I don't have to deal with that. But that's one of those things that me and Steve talked about. I wish every community had like a community shop to where if you're a guy and even though if you don't have the tools or whatever, you could come down, kind of like paying a gym membership. You could just, what do they call them up there, Steve? Maker
yeah,
spaces or
like
whatever?
maker spaces and such. Yep.
Yeah. And I've actually considered, later in life when I get retired, that I might try to put one of those here in my hometown to where the guys that don't necessarily have the tools or the space for the tools, you can pay a membership like you do at the gym and just come do woodworking. I think that would be really, really cool for people that have, limited space or whatever. I did live early on, and hold on to your hard hats now. I lived in a trailer park early on, and it was a very small trailer, and so I didn't have any. I didn't have a workshop either. When I finally did buy my first actual my own place, it was a single wide mobile home, and I had a 8x8 metal building that I bought at like Home Depot, and so that's where I wound up doing most of my work in front of it on sawhorses. And then when I got this house when we built this house back in 2005, that's when I actually built this. But originally it was literally just to keep my tractor and my lawnmower and stuff out of the rain. I had like one little work table right here in the middle that I used. So I need to do a video and take all those pictures and just show the progress because it's been a lot of work for the past oof, 30 years to get to this point. Yeah, Brian. I've never lived in a double wide. No, but I had to clean this. I had to clean this trailer in the trailer park though, because when I come home from work in the afternoons, I'd get bored, just go outside and rake and stuff. But yeah, yeah. Me and Brandy have both spent our time in the trailer park. Uh, that's just the way we came up. I mean, that's what you had. I mean, it was either that or nothing. But yeah, what's this 3 bedroom 2 bath? What is it now?
That's her maker space or her.
How big is Brandy's barn workshop? Yeah, yeah, she's got the whole house. Now she has said that if I do ever decide to build another shop, she's taking this one. But yeah, we've worked our butts off since we got together. Coming from a couple of 18-year-old kids that had a single wide trailer with a mattress laying on the floor. We've came a long way. So we have definitely, thank God for a good strong relationship and willingness to work and blessings from above, because if not, we'd still be sleeping on that same nasty mattress on the floor. So
Yeah, and it's whether you have a small card table or a bigger shop and such, it's about just taking what you have and doing some creating and setting your own goals with that. For some people, it's very much just a hobby. They want to play around, they want to craft, they want to make things for others, and being able to do that with ever what medium and space you have, you know, that's great. It's I, I try to preach to my children, and even some of the younger people on my staff. I'm like, the sooner you stop trying to keep up with the Joneses, the happier you're going to be. Um,
yeah,
Set your own goals and ambitions and focus on that, and don't worry about what everybody else is thinking about your car, your house, your hobby or whatnot. You know, set your own goals, be happy with that, and surround yourself with people who are happy for you with what you have and where you're going. So um, that I don't, yeah. I don't have time for people who are going to look down on me because not driving a brand new car and upgrading my house every 3 years.
yeah. Well, here's for those of you that haven't seen it. This is actually after I got the slab put in. That little table right there, that was my one little work table that I had. That's where I did all my building on. Uh, and prior to this, I had a tractor that parked here and a lawnmower and a little buggy that parked there. But that and then this is as it started to get a little bigger, and then that was the original Clack Shack sign that I made with a router. That was not done with a CNC, guys. So don't criticize. But that was when I decided I needed a laser or a router CNC one, and then that was after I put the front wall up and got it a little more usable. And then this was really early on. Uh, but yeah, this thing 3 years ago it did not look like it looks now at all. So, but yeah, just hey, all I can say is set your goals, be willing to work, and just man, I mean, just hope that it's in the cards for you. And if not, then like Steve said, some of the most fun I've ever had was when I had smaller spaces, I guess you could say. But yeah,
Yeah, no, that's where some really good ingenuity and creativity comes from when you're pushed to stretch whatever your tools, your materials, whatever. So
yeah. When your wife asks you to build her a kitchen table and all you have is a skill saw, a
there
tri
you go.
square, and a framing square,
Yeah.
and a like a 8-inch chop saw. Been there, lived that one.
Yep.
But yeah, it's like I said, it's been a long road, and it's really really it's great what I've been able to do right now, And just like this weekend, giving that laser to, doing the raffle for the laser. Uh, the guy that got it, he seemed really happy with what he got, and I'm hoping to be able to do more of that as the channel allows. Uh, because I do want to try to help, some of you guys that maybe want to upgrade that are rocking the 5 watt. Maybe, you might have the opportunity to get blessed with something a little stronger if that's what you want. And, we can kind of give back to the community because, like I said, this YouTube and stuff is kind of been a blessing when it comes to lasers for me. I mean, because I do get to play with some of the best and latest machines. Brian, I don't think it is. It could be. I built that. I built that on a budget, but I think that's probably just the camera. If it is sagging, I don't think it's sagging that much. That's a double 2x6, but I did run it 20 foot, so it could be. But as long as it doesn't fall, we're good. But I think that's just an optical illusion from the camera. I don't remember what camera I took that with.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Stand by. Oh, Joseph got him. Where's the best place to learn? Okay, I'm missing something. Terry, I don't know if maybe you misspelt or if we're using a translator or what happened there. What's the best place to learn? Well, I'm a little biased, but I think the Clack Shack, if you're asking where's the best place to learn about lasers, I'm a little biased, but I think the Clack Shack's a really good spot. Vintauri's workshop's not a bad place either. And if he's in here, Hobo has a channel too, if he's still here. But there's a lot of resources on YouTube. Just Google whatever it is you want to learn about, and there's plenty of guys that will explain it to you. And you may find that some people, suit your learning methods better than others. I mean, and then just pick that person and just go through the content. That's what I did. That's how I actually met Steve, was trying to learn how to run machines, and I started watching a bunch of his videos.
Yeah, there's a lot of good content creators out there, and YouTube is. I always recommend watching more than one video from a few different people because occasionally, I might get something wrong, Clack might get something wrong, or there might just be a different way of doing it. So definitely, YouTube in itself is a very good learning platform, and just make sure you spread that around to cross verify some of the information. And there's, people are listing a lot of good ones in here. Rich with Louisiana Hobby Guys, one Hobo with Wood, he's in here. They do a lot of content together. Steve makes everything. We've talked with them in the past. Samcraft. There's a lot of good creators out there, and I, for one, like to promote a lot of them as well because, like Clack Shed said, there you go. I'm just renamed you, Clack Shed. There's often someone out there that has done something to help you get started with it and has put some good content out there. So I definitely don't have the market cornered on anything as far as that. I try to put my spin on there, and I know some people have commented on my videos that like, hey, I've watched a lot of them. Yours is the first one that's made sense for me, and that's great. We all learn a little bit different, and so sometimes having similar content but just different delivery methods can work for different people. So definitely use that free tool out there. Yeah, YouTube University. It's almost. I work at a college, and there's a lot of good learning on YouTube. So.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of us, a lot of the guys that are out there, I watch a lot of other people's channels, guys. I do. If I've got a new machine in, I'll look at their videos and see what did he find wrong with it, or whatever, to try to make sure I give y'all the best information. And there's a lot of good channels out there. I mean, there's a lot of good channels out there. So And me and Steve, as you can tell, guys, we don't go around trying to hack other channels and talk bad about them or anything like that, or you know, because we communicate, we work together, and we work together with Steve makes everything. I think we've collaborated with him on some stuff. We've called him for help with machines that he had already figured out what the problem was. So to me, that's why we call it laser engraving community, because it is a community. Everybody works together for basically a common goal, and that is having fun with lasers and trying to make a little money on your side hustle. Because this is a big planet, this is a big country, and there's enough room for everybody to have fun and do their thing. And just like Steve said, some of you guys may relate better to me than you do with Steve, or vice versa. Pick your flavor. Coke and Pepsi, just pick one. When go try them all, figure out which one you like best, and pick one. And but I go, and like I said, I'll watch. Rich is my go-to if I find something in Lightburn that's kicking my teeth. I'll go check out Rich's channel, because he's like the Lightburn guru. And there's other guys, like I found a couple of guys in the 3D printing world that are really knowledgeable to help me get into 3D printing. There's several guys that I watch to try to help, learn the CNC. So, just get out there and find what works for you. But like Steve said, make sure you do kind of fact check occasionally, because, don't take one person's word for it, because perspective dictates a lot of times, even with me. I may say I like this machine better than this one, but it's my perspective. And I try to always let y'all know that the reason I pick a certain machine is not necessarily because of the brand or because of their support or because of the price. It's because it does that one thing that I need, and it does it well. So, just get out there and find it, guys.
See, that just says it all right there.
Steve's on YouTube, yeah. Well, there's not any more Clacks on YouTube, so I can't use that one.
We're gonna start a new community called Steve's on YouTube.
Start a Steve support group. But yeah, and like I said, and guys, my channel too, I get all over the place. I mean, y'all never know. It's actually starting to cool off, so I'm planning on going up to the sawmill here pretty soon, knocking the cobwebs off of that thing. Because I've run through most of my hardwood, and I've got to get some more cut. So that might be something that even if you don't have a sawmill or don't plan on getting one, it might be something interesting to watch. So I try to keep it interesting around here, because it's basically just a collection of my hobbies. But
yeah, I try to stay focused, but I have a lot of hobbies that I could dabble in on here, but I try to keep it workshop related. So try to keep some focus to it.
Oh no, I figure if people are if they like some of the things that I like, they might like all the things that I like. You never know. If not, you can always just skip it. Oh, Greg says Coke's better. I agree with you, Greg. I'm not a Pepsi person myself.
I don't drink a lot of pop, soda, whatever you want to call it, anymore. But it was interesting. As a kid, I liked Pepsi better, but as an adult, I would agree that I'd take Coke over Pepsi these days. So.
Michael Jackson got you, didn't he? That's why when you were a kid, you liked Pepsi better. Did you have a white glove?
I think it's because the Pepsi machine was the closest one to. That was the closest vending machine. So that's probably why it was easier to get than Coke.
Yeah. But yeah, the sawmill is really fun, but it's not really. I don't consider it a summer activity. I do have a roof over it, but that's mostly to keep it out of the rain. Well, but yeah. But it'll be making a re-entry here before too long if I can get this back thing straightened out. Because you can't really have back problems and be throwing around lumber either.
No.
This is a question. I think this is going to be a technical question.
I'm not familiar with the Two Trees boards at all. I haven't had them, so I can't really.
I've never looked at one, so I don't know. I've got a 2 trees, but I've never cracked a chassis open on it. Uh, I mean, maybe you could get lucky and catch a Z1 on sale and grab it, and then that way you would have parts, if you did mess something else up, I guess.
Well, they do often have refurbished machines offered on their site, so that might be something to look at. And I don't know that there's a difference in the board between the 5 watt and the 10 watt.
Yeah.
So
All right. Okay. Wes, I did some research on this, and I've actually tried this. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, no, no, no. By the time you buy the right chainsaw, now if you were going to hike into the woods in Alaska and build a cabin, and you didn't want to have to transport a sawmill, yeah, I mean it would work great. It'd be the better alternative. But for what we do and for what you're going to want to do, a chainsaw mill is way more work than what you're going to want to do to get a board. Uh, Now, like I said, if you were in the bush in the outback down there, if you were down there with Chris dodging kangaroos in the outback and 100 miles from civilization, that might be an option. But if you have access to, you know, get gas and move the logs and stuff, then a regular manual sawmill is where you want to go. I got a buddy that tried that, and he spent all that money on a big chainsaw and the Alaskan sawmill mill or chainsaw mill, and I think he did like 2 logs, and he just was like, okay, throwed his hands up, went and bought a real sawmill. And they're really not too terribly expensive. You can get, I mean, I think what's the Harbor Freight actually sells one that
yeah,
it's okay. It could use some improvements, but I know a buddy of mine bought one and then just made his own rails out of some steel, and he likes it.
believe it or not, I have a neighbor about, I don't know, 5 houses down here in the middle of residential Mankato. He's got a small. It might be a remade Harbor Freight, but he's wired up with electric motor. Can set it up inside of his garage and slab out some things. So
Yeah. North Alabama, I used to, but I don't run it enough now to keep up. To be honest with you, I mean, I used to. That's how I got started originally. That's why if you look at my Clack Shack logo, there's a big sawmill blade right in the middle of it. Was because I was selling mantelpieces and cedar boards and stuff like that, and then the whole laser thing just kind of happened. 100 miles is just where our neighbor lives. Yeah. Good night. Yeah. Woo. Yeah, Chris is out in the sticks then. I do want to see Australia one day, though. Do they let people come in anymore? Did they stop that? Can you go visit?
no, that's okay. Now I'm drawing a blank.
I know at one time they closed the borders over there, didn't they?
Well, everybody closed borders recently, but
Everybody but us, we opened ours up.
New Zealand, they're the ones that are difficult to get into down there by Australia.
Yeah. We opened ours up. Let's don't get into that. Yeah. Yeah, I think Australia has like 7 of the top 10 most deadliest animals on the planet. Yeah, my luck, Chris, I'd wind up running upon one of those communities where they don't take kindly to strangers or something trying to get in. That'd be my luck. Ended up a POW or something.
Well, come on, we have those in the U.S. too.
Oh, yeah, I found a few of them when I went to New York City. They actually had a guy try to rob me in New York City. That was humorous.
Mm.
He didn't see the Alabama tag. Is there a way to add air assist control to a V35? Well, I've experimented and thought about this idea, and I think that there may be, but it would be an aftermarket tweak using an M8 relay. But out of the box, no, not particularly. Other than you could put you a little automatic switch and have a flip switch. But as far as it being controlled through light burn, it would either if you did fix it or rig it up to where it would basically come on anytime the module fired, not just at chosen layers. That's the only downside to the V35 as opposed to the L36. Isn't that what you've got, Steve? The L36.
Yep.
Yours has the automatic air assist, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I wish they'd have done to the V35, but it wasn't that important to me.
Yeah, auto air assist over autofocus for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that over that any day.
Yes, sir, for sure. Yeah,
But some of the boards do have if they have an M8 pinout on the board, you could definitely add some wires and add a relay to it. But I haven't dug into the 8-SIR ones.
You would think as many times as I've took this one apart and swapped the boards from one frame to the other, I would have noticed that, but I never really paid any attention.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, it's getting close to time to call it quits. Us old folks, we got to go to bed. But it's been fun. It's been real. But North Alabama, if I ever do get it fired up, I'll let y'all know if I have some extra wood. But I stay so busy that unless I just like retire, I don't know when I'm going to have time to be selling any wood. Basically, I'll be able to hopefully provide myself, but as far as selling wood, that takes up a lot of time, and here lately I haven't had a whole lot of that. So what you got coming up, Steve, before we close out? Anything interesting that we want to keep our eyes peeled for?
Well, I'm working through a few videos here on equipment. I've got some project ideas that'll be coming up. So as work is kind of calming down a little bit, I'll be spinning that up. Next, well, we're coming up in just about 4 weeks. There's the Minnesota Woodworkers Expo. It's at the Canterbury Downs Expo Center. That's going to be an event that a lot of manufacturers, a lot of schools, a lot of makers like myself are going to be there doing demonstrations, kids, things, product stuff. So that'll be a chance to, if you're up in the greater Twin Cities area here in Minnesota or want to travel there during that weekend, looking to be a really good event with a lot of support from including some national brands like DeWalt and Festool and SawStop and such. So it should be very, very, very fun time. And so I'm trying to prepare for that as well. Still not sure what all I'm going to be doing, what I'll be able to demo there, but definitely like things like this F1 and such I'll have with to do some on-spot engraving and such. But so yeah, that'll be kind of the event thing coming up for me as far as anything local and such. And next week, I guess I'll let you know if I'm going to be trying to make it to Lightburn Experience. So if I'm going, I'm going to have to get registered this week. So.
Yep. Brian, as far as track saw, I'm guessing you're talking about a circular saw. I think Steve actually has don't you have the Festool track saw or?
Yep.
So he's got like the really high end one, and I've got the budget model. I've got the
Crap. Get the Craig.
Craig, yeah, that's what I say, the blue one. But I've got the Craig track, but it depends on your space. That comes back to one of those things we talked about earlier. If you're in a really, really confined space, a table saw that you use once or twice a month, you have to kind of weigh out the value in that. They make just straight edges for cutting, and those are really handy if you don't have the room for a table saw. But a table saw definitely is really good. But let me see here. Let me get mine out.
Yeah, I was able to. I definitely didn't buy mine brand new retail. I was able to snag that from someone who had to sell it, unfortunately, which was fortunate for me, unfortunate for them.
Yeah, so I got two different approaches. This is the Craig track that you can clamp to the material. It's got like this nice little grippy, rubbery stuff on the back of it. It's also got like a plastic edge, so you basically cut that off when you first use it. And then the other more economical option is this guy, which is just made by Empire, and it comes in two pieces, 4 foot and 8 foot, and you basically use clamps, lay it down like this. The only catch is you got to make sure you know what the offset is on this, unless you make it to where it runs the actual track itself. But these are options.
So yeah, Harbor Freight has a nice adjustable clamping straight edge. And if I've got to break stuff down, like if I got to go to the store and need to break it down before loading it in my vehicle, I'll bring that and a cordless circular saw, and that makes quick work of it. And so yeah, you can even make just what's called a door board, and that's you clamp it. You make it out of like MDF, and you put a stepped fence on it, so that your circular saw can ride along that step, and it just cuts that straight edge, and then you basically have your DIY track saw. So
Yeah, and this is actually handy for ripping down stuff. This is one part of it, and it comes with. This is the other half, and this thing just basically locks into this, and so you can set how far you want to cut, and then just run the edge of the sheet goods with this. And it does a pretty good job, but you got to take your time and have a really good sharp blade. High tooth count when you're using this. High tooth count. But those are my options. Of course, the table saw.
yeah, it seems like most of the cordless tool manufacturers are getting caught up. I think Rigid just came out with their track saw. I know DeWalt's had theirs for a while. Makita's had theirs, both corded and cordless, for a while. So I mean, you got a lot of options out there. So
Yes. Yeah, and of course, if you do as many stove covers as I do, you get to the point where you really don't need a track saw. I've gotten really proficient at cutting a straight edge on a 24-inch piece of wood.
So the nice thing with the track saw over the straight edge that you got to clamp there is that with those grip pads and such, you can do an angle, set it down, and you can set that plastic edge right on the line, and you can still cut that angle. So in that way, it's almost nicer than a table saw if you've got, the space to work with that, where you can lay it out and get your angles. So it in a lot of ways, it can definitely replace a table saw. In some ways, it can replace a miter saw. It's a really good tool to have.
Well, one of the reasons that I have that is because that straight edge, like when I cut a slab, if I want to take the live edge off of it, if you've got a 3-inch thick slab, it's kind of hard to get that guy up on a table saw and manipulate it, especially when you have a job site table saw and not like a commercial table saw. So it just makes it a little easier for me. But anyway. All right, guys. I think that's going to be about it for tonight. I think we run the gamut tonight. We talked about shop tools, lasers, 3D printers. We didn't really talk about CO2s though. That's different. But I appreciate everybody. If any of you haven't watched myself or Steve, go check out those playlists. And remember, you can use the search function up at the top of the videos. And just look for whatever topic that you're wanting to find out about, or machine or whatever, and you can find what's in there and watch those. So I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Steve?
Yeah, it's great conversation again tonight. Good seeing everybody. Great seeing a bunch of new faces as well. Hope you enjoyed it, and want to check out our other content or come back next week. We'll be doing it again. So.
Lord willing.
Y'all have a great week.
Later, guys. Be safe.